What is the biggest mistake someone starting on a Medicare can make? That's the question we want to answer today. My name's Kirk Spears. I'm an independent insurance agent in Georgia. And for over a decade, I've been helping people wrestle with the whole idea of how Medicare works and what plan they need to be on. Okay. So what is the biggest mistake that I believe that someone can make getting started on Medicare, or really at any point during their Medicare journey? And that mistake, I believe, is going it alone, not working with an agent. And you say, well, hey, Kirk, you're an agent. Of course, you're going to be biased. And yeah, I guess that's the case. But there are just so many pitfalls, so many things that can go wrong when you try to do it on your own. And I want to talk about some of those things today. And hopefully this will help you understand why you need to find an agent, and not just anybody. I feel like you need to have a local agent, someone that you can sit down with, look in the eye, and make the decisions that are right for you. And the first thing, that comes about when you're trying to choose a Medicare plan option is just understanding Medicare itself. Medicare has a lot of rules about what kind of plan you can choose when and how that's going to work. And, you're not a Medicare expert, I don't think. And you probably don't want to be one. But that's what an agents do. I tell people all the time that, about half of what I do is just helping people figure out Medicare and what they can do when, as much as it is about the particular plans that we are going to discuss. And when I offer it to them, it's just figuring out what Medicare will let you do and when you can do it. And so that is one of the trickier things about choosing a plan, and having an agent, having someone who understands that can be very, very beneficial to you. So, as an agent, one of the things that agents we have to do every year, if we're going to be able to offer Medicare plans, particularly Advantage plans and prescription drug plans, is we have to certify with Medicare. That means we have to sit through a course and we have to take an exam that proves that we understand the rules of Medicare. It takes several hours to go through. It's kind of boring sometimes, but it's necessary and it's helpful. It does make sure that we are, as agents, understanding what Medicare, how Medicare works, and that we're able to help people navigate through that whole process. So, that is the number one thing: understanding how to navigate Medicare. That's what an agent, can help you with. That's one of the things. The second thing is just helping you with the overwhelming number of options. And let me just say this, as someone, if you're new to Medicare, you're going to have the most number of options at the very beginning. A lot of times, as you go into your Medicare journey, as you get older, as you've been on Medicare for a while, your options a lot of times decrease. But at the very beginning, you have the most options available. And the tricky part about that is the fact that you're new to Medicare. You probably know the least about Medicare that you're going to know. And that's when you have the most options. So, it's kind of puts you in a difficult position there at the beginning. And so that's what an agent can do. And an agent can help you sort through and figure out what all those options are. The different types of plans: Medicare Advantage versus Medicare Supplement versus prescription drug plans. What are the differences? What are the rules about those? Multiple carriers. There are different companies who offer different plans. For instance, in my area where I work, I am contracted with 7 different carriers, 7 different companies who are offering plans. And through those 7 different companies, there are over 70 plan options. And that's just Medicare Advantage and prescription drug plans. That's not even counting Medicare supplements. So, without an agent to see all the options you have, you would have to be prepared to go through and do research potentially on 70 plus plans. That's a lot of research. That's a lot of work. And let me just tell you, that's going to be exhausting. Okay. As an agent, I've already done that research. I've already, not only do I have to certify with Medicare, I have to certify with each company that I contract with every year. So I have to learn about their plans. I have to learn how they do business and how they operate. What are the benefits of their plans that might be a little bit different than benefits from another company? And so, you don't always have access to that information alone. And if you did, you're still going to have to do a absolute ton of research to figure it all out. Okay. So, you want to make the right choice, rely on someone who can help you narrow those choices down pretty quickly. Normally when I sit down with someone, I can ask them 4 or 5 questions, maybe a few more, and I can pretty much immediately narrow down their options down to probably 5 or 6. And from there we can talk a little further, and I can help them narrow it down to 1 or 2. And that's really where you want to get to. You want to get down to where you have maybe a couple of options, and you can say, okay, it's either this or that. I feel more comfortable with choice A than choice B. That's where you want to get to. Okay, and that's what an effective agent can help you do. So they can help you navigate the Medicare rules. They can help you narrow down your choices because there are just a ton of options out there. The third thing that an agent can do for you is they can help you with the actual concepts of insurance. Let me ask you a question. Can you explain the difference between a copay and coinsurance? Do you know the difference between a deductible and a maximum out of pocket? You know the difference between a PPO plan and an HMO plan? Do you even understand how the differences are between Medicare supplement plans and Medicare Advantage plans? Look, all these things are basic things you need to know to be able to understand what kind of plan you're choosing, okay? And unless you understand those things, there's a good chance you're going to make a mistake. Now, look, most people that I talk to, I say most, but a lot of people I talk to, probably most, say that they don't understand insurance, that they don't enjoy it, it's just conceptually, it's something that they don't really grasp. And it's not because they're dumb, it's just because it's not something that they've had to deal with over the years. And you may be just like that. It is insurance is a different animal. It has a kind of its own language. And you need someone that is there to help you and to guide you through that process of those concepts, who can explain them to you and say, look, if you choose this plan, you can expect to pay this, this, or this. Or if you choose that plan, you can expect to pay this amount. Those are the kind of questions you want answered. Those are the kind of questions that an agent can help you with. And then, finally, the fourth reason you need an agent is because if you don't have one, and if you try to navigate this process on your own, here's what I think is probably going to happen. You're going to reach a point where your frustration factor just goes over the top. And then what happens? Then you just make a snap decision. You just get tired of the whole process. You say, I don't know what I'm doing, or I don't know which decision is the right one, so I'm just going to choose this plan A or plan B. And when you do that, you run the risk of making a big mistake. Remember, I said at the beginning of your Medicare journey, when you first start on Medicare, all your options are open to you. That's not going to be the case necessarily as you go forward. And if you make the wrong decision, particularly at the very beginning, you may not have a chance down the road to fix that, okay? So when you work with an agent, that's what we do. We help you not make that initial mistake. And another thing that happens is when people reach that frustration level, they pick up the phone and they call some ad on TV. A lot of times, one of the carriers who are offering plans. Okay, can I just tell you how those situations are going to work? they're not going to let you off the phone until you sign up with something, okay? And a lot of times they're going to push you toward a particular product, whether or not that product is the best for you or not. So that's something that you want to be careful of. When you sit down with an independent agent like myself, I'm going to offer you a multitude of plans, or I have the ability to do that. And I'm not so concerned about forcing you into one particular type of plan. I want to find the plan that's going to work best for you. And so whatever that might be, that's what we want to choose. And because I have the option to help you with that, and in that way, then there's no pressure. There's no pressure to be forced into a certain plan from a certain company. Okay. And so just, one more thing is that when you call someone on the 800 number or whatever and talk to that agent in that call center working for some carrier, that once you enroll with them, that is probably the last time you're ever going to speak with that particular agent. Okay. Because they're a sales agent. They're not a customer service person. Okay. So they'll enroll you and then they're going to disappear. You're not going to be able to get a hold of them again. Now, when you have an agent, an independent agent, a local agent like myself, I come out, I sit down, I help you, we enroll you, I become your agent. And when you have issues, when you have questions, when you need help with something else, when you want to think about looking at a different plan for the next year, guess what? You get to talk to me again and again and again, however often you need to, because I'm your agent. I'm there to help you. And that's part of what I do, is not only helping you make a decision on the front end, but continuing to help you as time goes forward. So, those are 4 reasons. Unless you really understand Medicare and how to navigate it, unless you understand insurance terminology, unless you understand and willing to research, multitudes of plan options, and unless you have the patience not to get frustrated, pick up the phone and grab the first thing that's available, you need an agent. Can I just say that? You need an agent. Everybody does. And you may think I'm biased. That's fine. I'm biased because I'm saying this because I believe I've just seen too many people make mistakes doing it otherwise. Okay. So please find someone local to you. If you're in Georgia, love to help you out. Okay. But find somebody local who understands your local plans and can help you navigate the process. Make sure to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this content or if it's been helpful to you, and stay tuned for more. Thanks. Have a great day.